It started with a glance. Not a long one. Not dramatic. Just one of those lingering, unspoken stares that stretches a second too long. He was laughing. He was watching. And in that moment, everything changed. The dinner was small. Just 4 people. Ivy Monroe and her husband, Graham. Graham's old college buddy, Cal Bennett. And Cal's date. Someone Ivy couldn't remember now. Pretty, polite, forgettable. What she did remember was Cal's voice. Rough. Unhurried. The kind of voice that didn't need to speak loud to be heard. She remembered the way his eyes followed her across the room, not in a way that disrespected but in a way that noticed. The way he watched her talk even when she wasn't talking to him. The way his hand hovered above her lower back when he passed behind her. Never touching, but present. And the way her skin tingled anyway. They had wine. Too much. She laughed louder than she should have. Graham barely looked up from his phone. Talking about work stocks, the new house they were building in the hills. Ivy smiled through all of it. But her mind drifted. To the man who sat beside her. The man who listened when she spoke. The man who looked at her like she wasn't invisible. After dinner, Graham took a call on the patio. The other woman left in an Uber. And for a moment, it was just Ivy and Cal. Alone in her kitchen. Soft jazz playing. Empty wine glasses on the marble counter. He leaned against the doorway, sleeves rolled up, 2 buttons undone. She stood barefoot in a silk dress that whispered when she moved. Cal didn't say anything for a long time. Then, "You're not happy, are you?" Ivy froze. She looked at him. Really looked. And whispered, "No." He stepped closer. Slow, respectful. "I see it," he said. "The way you fade when he walks in the room. The way you smile out of habit, not joy." She swallowed hard. "You shouldn't say these things. I shouldn't feel them either." Her breath caught. He moved 1 step closer. Not touching, but so close she could feel the heat of him. "You deserve to be looked at like you matter," he said. "Like someone would burn the world down just to sit next to you." Ivy's chest ached. Her voice cracked. "And you think you'd be that someone?" His hand reached out, slow, trembling, and touched her wrist. Just lightly. Barely there. "I already am." She didn't kiss him. Not that night. But she thought about it. When she lay next to her husband in bed, staring at the ceiling fan. She thought about Cal's hands. Cal's voice. The way his eyes asked questions she was too afraid to answer. And when Graham turned away in his sleep, murmuring someone else's name, Ivy closed her eyes. And let herself imagine the kiss she never took. The next morning there was a message. From Cal. "I'm leaving town in 3 days. I just wanted you to know. The way I looked at you wasn't a mistake. But I won't stay where I'm not welcome. No pressure. No follow-up. Just honesty." Ivy read it a dozen times. But never replied. Because she was supposed to be good. And good women don't chase things that don't belong to them. Even when their hearts already have. The day Cal left, she watched from the upstairs window. He didn't look up. But she still whispered goodbye. That night she sat alone in her kitchen. Jazz playing low. Same marble counter. Same wine glass in her hand. But no one on the other side of it. No one who saw her. No one who stayed. And the love she never chose? It left with him. 3 months passed. Seasons changed. Leaves turned. Life continued. In the same dull rhythm Ivy had always known. Wake up. Smile. Brunch with friends who didn't ask real questions. Dinner with a husband who didn't touch her. Silence that filled every room and every breath. And beneath it all, Cal's voice still echoed. "You deserve to be looked at like you matter." She told herself it was just a moment. A spark. Something fleeting. But the flame hadn't died. It just lived underground. Smoldering. It was a Sunday when fate decided to be cruel. She walked into Haven Books and Coffee hoping for quiet. And found Cal. Standing at the register, black t-shirt, sleeves hugging his arms, a travel journal tucked under one arm, coffee in the other. He hadn't seen her yet. He could turn around. He didn't. Their eyes met. And just like that, 3 months vanished. "Ivy," he said, voice quieter than she remembered. She stepped forward, heart slamming in her chest. You're back. Just passing through. You didn't say goodbye last time. I didn't think I should. Pause. She looked down at the book in his hand. Still writing. Always. You still think about it? She asked before she could stop herself. He didn't blink. Every day. Her throat tightened. I didn't reply to your message. I noticed. I wanted to. I know. Another silence. This one full of every word they hadn't said. They sat at a corner table. No small talk. Just coffee and tension. I stayed, she whispered. I kept waking up next to someone who doesn't see me. Then leave. It's not that simple. Why? She looked up. Because I made a promise. Cal leaned in. But did you mean it? Her eyes welled. I don't know anymore. He reached across the table, fingers brushing hers. I never stopped waiting for you, he said. Even when I told myself to let go. Tears slid down her cheek. And this time she didn't pull her hand away. They left the cafe in silence. But when she stepped into the alley beside the bookstore, he followed. I shouldn't be here, she said. But you are. You make it hard to breathe. Maybe you were never supposed to breathe in a life that wasn't meant for you. She looked at him. And that's when he kissed her. Hard. Hungry. Like 3 months had been torture and this was salvation. Her back hit the brick wall. His hands found her waist. Her fingers gripped his shirt like she needed it to keep standing. It wasn't sweet. It was raw. Desperate. Everything they weren't supposed to want. She moaned softly against his mouth. He froze. Tell me to stop, he rasped. He didn't. Instead she pulled him back to her. Their bodies pressed together. Heat, pulse, breath all tangled. And in that moment Ivy stopped pretending. He wanted him. Had always wanted him. Not just for a night. But for the version of herself that only existed when he was near. When they finally pulled apart she was trembling. He rested his forehead against hers. I'll leave again, he whispered. If you ask me to. She couldn't speak. Her heart was breaking. Even while it finally felt whole. I just wanted to know, he said, voice cracking, if I meant something to you too. She cupped his face. You did. He kissed her once more, softer this time. Then he walked away. And this time, she didn't stop him. Because some love stories aren't ruined by betrayal. They're ruined by timing. 2 weeks passed. Ivy didn't hear from Cal. No calls. No messages. No trace. She knew he meant it. He wouldn't come back unless she asked him to. And she couldn't. Because love like that, it didn't come without fire. And she was still living in a house made of glass. Every night she lay beside her husband. Graham talked about property taxes. About new clients. About nothing. He never once noticed that her body never reached for his. That her eyes never met his when she said good night. And she never told him why. Because how do you explain a love that never even had a beginning? How do you grieve a man who never officially belonged to you? One morning, Ivy stood in front of her closet, eyes trailing over rows of pastel dresses and structured blazers. Not a single thing in there looked like who she was anymore. She pulled out a box from the top shelf. Inside, a photo of her wedding day. A silver necklace she hadn't worn in years. And a letter Cal had slipped into her coat pocket the night they kissed in the alley. One she hadn't dared open, until now. She unfolded it slowly. You don't have to leave your world to find me. Just take one honest step in my direction. And I'll meet you there. But I won't ask again. See. Tears blurred the ink. Because she knew deep down. She'd never take that step. That afternoon Ivy went to the cafe. She sat in their corner table. Ordered his favorite coffee. Stared out the window and whispered, I'm sorry. He didn't show. She didn't expect him to. Later that night, Graham found her sitting on the floor of their walk-in closet, still in her clothes. You okay? He asked, half distracted. She looked up, mascara smudged. I cheated on you. He blinked. What? With Cal. Silence. She stood, wiped her face. I didn't sleep with him. But it happened anyway. Graham's jaw tightened. Why are you telling me now? Because lying is exhausting. And because you deserve the truth even if you never asked for it. He didn't yell. He didn't cry. He just said, so what now? I don't know, she whispered. but I can't keep pretending. A week later, Ivy moved into a small one-bedroom downtown. No announcements. No scandal. Just quiet. And space. The hardest part wasn't leaving her marriage. It was knowing she hadn't chosen Cal either. She had chosen herself, too late for both of them. One rainy afternoon she got a letter in the mail. No return address. Just a photo inside. It was black and white. A narrow road in the desert. One set of footprints leading off into the sand. A caption scribbled in the corner. Some journeys are meant to be walked alone. Cal. She stared at it for hours. Not because it hurt, but because it felt like closure. Bro, I'm forgiving. Like their love. Years passed. She never saw him again. But every time she walked by the alley near Haven Books, she paused. Not because she hoped he'd be there, but because that was the spot where she remembered how it felt to be seen. To be wanted without expectation. To be loved, in the space between a hello and goodbye. And though she never said it aloud, she carried him in the quiet corners of her life. In the pages of old notebooks. In the lyrics of late-night jazz. In the ache that sometimes returned for no reason. Because the greatest heartbreaks, they don't come from what ends. They come from what never had the chance to begin.